Are you a service-based business owner looking to increase profits to fund your lifestyle? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now, over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hi, Paul here. Before we get into the show, would you like to make a great first impression on LinkedIn? If so, I have something just for you. When people search for your name on Google, your LinkedIn profile will normally come up first. Before meeting someone for the first time, how often do they view your LinkedIn profile? For many coaches and consultants I begin to work with, their profiles don't do them any justice. I've created a simple solution where you can whip your profile into shape to have your best foot forward when attracting new clients on LinkedIn. Go to blgdownload.com, so that's blgdownload.com to get your 5 killer tips today. Hello to the Build, Live, Give Solo podcast, episode number 257. It's your first time, welcome, and if you love what you hear, please subscribe. I recommend listening to episode 0.5. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it will guide you through the rest of the podcast. So that's episode 0.5. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Love to hear from you. It means the world to me when you do. I love listening to podcasts and always have follow-up questions. Maybe I'm just that guy. But if you're the same, go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/questions and lodge your questions, and I promise to answer them for you. Please check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Build, Live, Give. So today's topic is how to gain new clients leveraging assessments. You will learn 3 key things. 1, why use assessments. 2, what platform to use. And 3, and most importantly, tips in setting it up, because it can be a little tricky at the start. So I have listened to every podcast by Neil Patel and Eric Sue on the Marketing School podcast. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. They're short, they're daily, and they always give fantastic value. I personally skip the first minute, so you'll know, so it gets right to the core, but yeah, excellent show. And I heard them mention quizzes and ways that you can get more or add more value to prospects. And I thought, okay, I'll try it out. I've heard quizzes, I've heard assessments. Now, I call it assessment, they call it a quiz. To me, it's, I call it one and the same thing. I determine it's one and the same thing. And Neil's got his own software called Lead Quizzes, and that's what I'm going to talk about a little further in this podcast. And, I've had the boring checklists and PDFs, and to be honest, they're really difficult to set up. Sometimes you never get the graphics right. Like, I'm sure you've had similar things, and I'd love to know if you've had a checklist or a PDF that's absolutely knocked the lights out and you've done really well. Please send it through. I'd love to see it. But for most people and most of the people I mentor, it hasn't been great. So Mary Henderson from maryhendersoncoaching.com started to build my personal brand, and it was around the same time I listened to the podcast, and she said, look, I think assessments or quizzes are great for your new funnel that we're creating and for the launch of your new website. So I said, okay, let's do it. And the other key reason is I really did want to add value to my prospects. I wanted something that was interactive and gave them more value. So before I go into the tips, I would like to talk about Dubb, D-U-B-B. It's an all-in-one sales and marketing video platform that helps to attract, convert, and retain more happy clients. I used it this week to ask people to be guests on my podcast. So I approached them through LinkedIn, then I sent a video, and the cool thing is it had a call to action button at the bottom where they could book a specific link to have a call to see if they were the right fit. So why not check it out for yourself? Just go to buildlivegive.com/Dubb, and that's D-U-B-B. So you've got, we've talked about why, we've talked about the platform, Lead Quizzes, but let's go through some tips that I got from actually setting it up. And I want a big shout out to Connie, who helped me set this up. Connie's a great member of my team. So the first thing is have a really powerful hero image. The second thing is test headlines, right? It's like anything else. So our first one was called, are you running a sweat box or a profit machine? And I just don't think people got it. It sounded great to Mary and I, didn't sound good to everyone else. So now we've changed it up. So at the moment we're using, will you have a low or high figure service-based business in 2021. I just said service business in 2021. So we've tested that. So far, we're getting much better results from that. So just, I think that headline, like any copy, is really important. The next thing is the position of the email address. So we used to have it at the bottom, so people would go through all the quiz and then probably not fill it out, we found in most times. Then we had it at the top, and some people weren't doing it because it's like, okay, it goes straight to the email. I want to get some value first. So we positioned it in the middle. So test what works for you, but getting just their first name and their email address is great so that you can send them follow-up or the results, whatever you choose to do. The next is that your questions should be related to your methodology. And, I've created a methodology. It was called the 4 pillars. Now it's the 3 pillars, but it's a very clear methodology so that when I'm getting someone on a discovery call or in the future, that they're very clear on the methodology, but most importantly, that methodology I know works and adds value. And just have simple yes or no questions. And the other thing I recommend is about 15 questions. To begin with, I had, 26. It was way too many questions and the completion rate was really low. So I recommend about 15 questions and just test it yourself. It should take you about 3 minutes, no more than 5 minutes to complete it. The other thing is in the questions, just have really good examples in the description. If it's, it's a short question with, sometimes people, the way that you interpret your methodology in words is different to other people. So really make sure you have some examples in there that makes it as easy as possible. I mean, you can simply do it in the description there. The actual platform is really easy to use. Then the results. Now, I personally like 4 different ranges of results. You might use different. So I've used 0 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, and 76 to 100. And then what we've done is got specific text and also videos based on the outcomes of each of those. So, the 0 to 25, there's some significant work. 26 to 50, there's good, but there's more to do. 51, 75, you're on a great track. How about we tweak it through a few things? And my 76 to 100 was, you're doing such a great job. I'd love to have you on as a guest on the podcast. Would you be open to that? Now, the actual mechanism on scoring gets a little tricky. I'm sure there's a YouTube. I think that's what Connie used. But if you want to know how to do that, just email Connie at buildlivegive.com. So that's CONI, and she'll definitely help you out. And as I said, the videos, make them about a minute, a little bit longer. You can go and see mine, but that's what I recommend. And at the end, offer them a call. Now, this is not a sales call. It's just taking them through the PDF. So I don't send them a PDF. They get the PDF on the call, and then I take them through, show you the gaps, and then talk about a plan. But it's very much talking about the gaps, what they could do. It's not sales call. If it leads to a sales call, that's great, but it's not a sales call. So please, not sales, adding value. And then the last thing is track results. So, we track it every week. And like I said, we've made changes to the header, etc. So, continue to do that. And just quickly on the offer a call, just have a booking link. So we use Book Like a Boss, but use whatever you like. So 3 key actions from today. 1 is go and have a look at mine as an example. So paulhigginsmentoring.com/assessment. Second is trial lead quizzes. So it's leadquizzes.com, and that's QIZZES. And the last one is just email Connie if you are using, you don't know how to do the scoring, email her. So you can get all the links in the show notes at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, episode 257, or in the app that you're listening to now. I recommend the Pocket Cast app. It's fantastic. Also go and listen to that episode 0.5 if you're new. It's a great way to get a real overview of all the podcasts and what I'm up to. This is 257, so there's a few there. Please connect and follow me on LinkedIn. It's where I put a lot of great content out. If you know someone interested in gaining clients leveraging assessments, please share this with them. Remember to ask me those follow-up questions. Okay, it's paulhigginsmentoring.com/questions. Please take action to build, live, give.
Thanks for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please share it and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.